Okay, let's take a quick little review of your toolkit. And this is your toolkit for dealing with quadratics. One, you can factor. And to factor, you have to get 0 by itself. And we do that, we just factor the other side, and we can find the zeros, so to speak. Find out what would make x equal to 0. The second one is the square root property, where we want to get, I'm just going to do this, x squared by itself. Then we just take the square root and square root of both sides. Now this could have a plus or minus with some constant in here. Like it could be x plus 3 squared or whatever. We can still do that. But we got to keep in mind the rules, though. We've got our 3 rules in there too. 3 rules of if it's positive or if x squared is a positive number, there'll be 2 roots, and if x squared is a negative number, there's no roots, etc. And 3, we've got something called completing the squares. And completing the square or completing the squares is just a way of setting up the equation so that you can use the square root property. So I'm going to show you by an example what I mean by this. So let's take x squared plus 6x minus 8 equals 0. There's an equation, a trinomial that we cannot factor. We cannot use the distributive property. We can't do anything with it. We can't square root it either. So what we want to do is we want to manipulate this so that there is something on the left that we can take a square root of. So let's get rid of the 8 here. Let's go x squared plus 6x, and I'm going to move the 8 to the other side, equals 8, because we just added 8 here and added 8 there. So now I have this equation. Now looking at this, what do I have to do to this? What do I have to add to this? How can I change this so that it becomes a perfect square trinomial? We've seen perfect square trinomials before. We know that if you factor a trinomial, the constants will add to this and they will multiply to this. So what 2 numbers add to this? Well, 3 and 3. In fact, if it's a perfect square, it has to be 3 and 3. We just take this and cut it in half. So we cut this one in half, we get 3's. So we've got to change it to that. So if we add 9 on that side, we've got to add 9 on this side. In so doing, this is a perfect square trinomial, which is now x plus 3 squared. That's what this is. Equals 17. So if we take the square root of both sides, this side, the square root of it is x plus 3. This side, the square root of 17, is called plus or minus square root 17. Because it's a positive number, we've got to remember plus or minus. So we will subtract 3 from both sides to get x by itself, and x equals negative 3 plus or minus root 17. Ugly, messy, but it's correct.